Welcome to this MedTalk today. We are going to talk about a whole different approach of communicating with each other today, which doesn't include languages. And for this really interesting topic, I invited Juli Gudehus today. I was introduced to her from Mark, who has been a loyal MedTalker too. And yes, Juli, won't you tell us a bit about you and where you come from?
I am an artist living in Berlin, and I come from, that's difficult a little bit because I moved a lot in my life. I was born in Hamburg, but then my parents moved me to the States when I was a couple of months old. And then we moved back when I was a year old. And then we lived in a handful of places in Germany. And that maybe started my third year for how people talk, because then I noticed that the dialects are very different in Germany. And when you have one word for a thing or an action, and in another area they use another word. So that was when I was first attentive to this.
Yeah, right. So you were always a bit focused on languages, is that right?
Yes, in a way. And I studied communication design, and if you will, communication is one half of communication design. So yes, language is a lifeline that I somehow always had.
Yeah. I mean, you said something, a communication design. Also, when we talked about the LinkedIn post, it's actually, we are not talking about a language. We are talking about, how did you call that? A communication
Principle.
Yes, right.
Yes.
I still think it connects kind of to what you said. It's a language, because language is much more than just words. In the MedTalk yesterday, we also said it's languages are also communication non-verbally. And when I learned about you and how you work with communication, I found it extremely interesting. The approach to develop something that works regardless of the actual spoken language all around the globe. And before you tell us exactly what this is going to be and how you do that, I would like to know, how did you come up with the idea? Like, you studied communication design, and how did Tuqtuli happen? Like, how did you think, oh yeah, let's use science instead of language?
That's a little bit a longer story, if I may, but I try to keep it short. As I said, I studied communication design, and we had this wonderful professor who, that was the second semester, said to us, okay, in my course, it will be all about science, and the task is do something with science. So very, very open task. And we were only 5 people in that group, in that class. And I thought, I would like to do something like the Egyptians did with the hieroglyphs. So maybe I could do something contemporary. I could use the signs that are all around us in our daily life. So I collected all kinds of signs, logos, traffic signs, icons, symbols, mathematics symbols, everything. And then I was thinking, what could I do with that? And then eventually I stumbled upon my Bible that I somehow had from my early years as a child. And I thought, the Genesis, that would be a good thing. So you have a wide variety of what happens, whatever God creates, the waters, the animals, the sky, the stars. So there's got a lot going on in that story. And I translated that story into science, and that was it for this semester. But to my surprise, over the summer holidays, my professor gave this story to the redaction of a big German newspaper. It's Die Zeit, and it's over regional, and it's also being sold everywhere in the world. It's really a large newspaper. And someone called me in the summer saying, okay, hello, this is Ulrich Stock from Die Zeit. Yeah, we have your Genesis here, and may we publish that for Sylvester? And I was like, okay, yeah, someone's going to play a joke on me. I didn't believe, but then yes, it was true, and they did publish that student work of mine for Sylvester, and it was one large page, the whole story. And you know, I got letters from people from everywhere. It was really a load, a heave of letters.
Wow.
People saying, what is that? That is so funny and so clever and so original. And that was very amazing for me, because in the field, I thought, hopefully nobody who believes in God or is very strict with the Bible feels somehow mocked at.
Yeah.
But it never was the case. There was a poster being printed later because people asked for a poster, and then a publisher approached me, wouldn't you like to do a book? And you're pretty overwhelming for a 24-year-old in the second semester or third.
I bet that, yeah.
It really blew me away. But since then, it always accompanied me. I always had that special eye on science, and also this Genesis, it was published in various ways, as a book, in books, in newspapers, in magazines. It was exhibited nationally, internationally, and it was somehow always there. And every now and then people asked me, wouldn't you want to continue that? I mean, what about the rest of the Bible?
All right. Wow, that's a lot of drawing.
No. I'm up to other things, and no, that's it. I was just lucky, because the language of the Bible is very, very simple, and so I was lucky to translate these simple sentences. But never you would be able to like discuss philosophy with that principle, or to maybe translate Dadaistic poetry or something.
Yeah.
That was okay. But then for the 25th anniversary of my Genesis, there was again an edition in the German publishing house, and I worked all over this story. I replaced many symbols from 1992 by symbols that only occurred later. And then we had a presentation in a museum for book art in Germany, in Offenbach. And again, someone asked me at this at the discussion, at the presentation, and suddenly I heard myself saying, now it's the time for collective intelligence. And I was surprised myself, because from where did that come? From outer space? I don't know. And then it took me 2 years to think about, to take it seriously.
Wow.
And now that is Tuqtuli. That is the idea that not me, not like people before me and after me, they think, I will invent a language, and then other people just have to learn that.
Yeah.
People don't want to learn a language when they don't see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Even Esperanto is a language that is okay. It's the most successful of all artificial languages, as far as I know. But still, how many people speak Esperanto? So my idea now is, it's not a language, it's a principle. My idea is everybody can already communicate in that way. Just grab a pen and a paper, if you hopefully have something like that, and then start. You just align one sign after the other, just like words, in lines. Sign, 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 sign. Next line, sign, 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 sign. That's the principle, period.
Wonderful. You gave me a wonderful way to guide you through the presentation, because thankfully you created a presentation to give us a more closer idea to what are we talking about. So yeah, please share your screen and show us what we are talking about.
Yes.
And maybe
Okay.
I have a question. Where does Tuqtuli, the name, come from?
The name comes from a process of examining certain words in a bunch of languages that are very rare or rather rare. And those words that sounded sympathetic to me, I put them together, I threw them together, and my my goal was to have an artificial name that you cannot tell where in the world it comes from, and that at the same time sounds like fun. Like when you know Tuqtuli, maybe you go to a festival and there's a Tuqtuli workshop around, and you say to your friends, hey, Tuqtuli sounds funny, let's go there, let's see what it is, something like that.
Wonderful, thank you. I kept wondering, and I think I never asked you the question.
And it worked. I realize it works because people already said, is that Inuit speak? Or I spoke to a young woman from Pakistan, and she says it sounds like something from her area. And so I'm
interesting.
Yeah. So
very interesting. Yeah. We just lost your screen.
Oh.
For some reason. Yes, it's gone again.
Okay. Then I go again. Okay, maybe because I didn't move anything, but that I don't know.
It just says a technique issue.
Please tell me.
There you are again.
Please tell me when that happens again, will you?
Yes. Yes, okay, of course.
Now, presentation.
Wonderful. Then start.
Wonderful. Okay, let's go. Tuqtuli as I think the future of communication, maybe, and maybe the communication of the future. And it's a research and development project. It's somewhere located between art, communication design, linguistic, semiotic, immaterial cultural heritage, and sociology. And it started in 2024. And since then, I gave talks and workshops on conferences, festivals, and universities in Belgium, Germany, France, Japan, and the US. Tuqtuli is a dialogical communication principle where the two people who try to communicate would line up signs like words in real time in an associative way, very intuitively, and on eye level, so to speak. It's practical when you miss a language, so when you don't share a language, when you don't have an interpreter, and when there's no like a translation app. And maybe you are traveling, maybe you are working with refugees, maybe you need this principle for humanitarian aid. And maybe you need it because there's no electricity. That may also very well be. So I said it already, Tuqtuli is not a language. It's a tool in a way. It's a principle, if you will, a method. It's not a language because you would not learn vocabulary and you would not learn a pictogram. That is because I think that all of us, we have an imaginary visual like dictionary in our head in different ways. My visual dictionary is not yours, but in every visual dictionary that you would find a myriad of signs that we have seen during our lives and that we somehow very nonchalant, in a nonchalant way, we learned or at least we understood what it should be about. When you have two dictionaries, I guess that's my working type, my working thesis, that two people have at least a part of these signs in common when they communicate. And if they don't have it in common, it is necessary to look for other ways of visual communication. That will be a live process. And as you can see here, that can be a lot of fun. Also, a really endless amount of signs need to be created for a pictographic understanding, because they don't exist. Like you see here, a pictogram for only or a pictogram for yesterday. When you look on the internet for pictograms for house or mouse, you would find endless signs for that. But these abstract terms also need to be translated visually. And yeah, to create them, to interpret them, to understand them, that needs a cooperation in a Tuqtuli dialogue, or if you will, in an eye conversation.
We can also conversate.
Eye conversation. That was a intended pun, but it needs to be pronounced correctly. Now, when you think I can't draw, don't worry, because I think yes, you can, and I think that the content of what you draw is much more important than the style or the aesthetic. I think, and now I know already, because I did it in my workshops, I saw that everybody is capable to do Tuqtuli when they can hold a pen in their hand. But as with everything else, I think that a certain knowledge and a certain experience help to do something. So Tuqtuli is a participative, interdisciplinary, intercultural project, and it is also for all generations. So everybody is welcome. That is what you read here in German. And everybody who can and everybody who wants to can co-create a basic repertoire of visual vocabulary and to help establish something like the basic pictogrammar. So I invite everybody everywhere in the world. And also all kinds of signs are welcome, like the abstract ones, like the ones that depict something that you know, like here, the hammers. You've seen hammers in your world already. They can be black and white, as you see that here, or in the next picture, can be in color. And it can be like this one, it can be signs of our time, or like in the next picture, it can be signs from earlier times. In other words, that is immaterial cultural heritage that I collect in the course of the project. So transform language into signs. This principle can also exist in a more refined way, in a vectorized way, for messages that need more life, so to speak, like where you need to inform someone when you cannot be present in person. So here you see this Genesis that I talked about as a game that was in an exhibition, but that is fun for the visitors of that exhibition, that they can try to solve the puzzle of the all the lines translated into Tuqtuli. And when they think they got it right, they look on the other side of the tiles. And so there is a game. And at the same time, I tell a story. That is something that you can do with Tuqtuli. And I asked my students in a couple of Tuqtuli workshops to think about what they could do with that. And there was, for instance, Rona Hen, who works in her spare time for a man who has a mental disability. He can live on his own and cook for his own, and he works in a workshop, does very simple work, but he cannot really read recipes, so he always buys fast food. And he translated for him the preparation instructions of a couple of fast food that you can buy in the supermarket. That is, here you can see it a little bit more in detail. So if you like, you can try to follow the Tuqtuli instructions, or you read, if you can speak German, if you live in Germany and you don't speak, if you happen to be on a holiday in Germany, you buy some German package and it's not in German, it's in German and you don't understand German, you would maybe like to follow the Tuqtuli instructions. This student, Isabel Kuhn, she thought that maybe the city of Cologne might want to inform people who parked wrong in Tuqtuli. So you get post, you will get a fine, and now you know it's written in German and in Tuqtuli. This is Marie Lechert and Jana Gashema. They produced a card set as a teaching tool where you can, with your school class, maybe you can translate the Human Rights Charter into signs, like slavery is forbidden, or every human being is free and is born free and equal. Here's a work by Margot Pontet, Lana Boimle-Ferreira, and Sam Sameji. They produced some messages that they posted in public space. It's about the Berlin winter and what you would do in order to care for your soul. You have another image where you can see their postings in the city, and next there's a third image. And that was a lot of fun for them, I think, also for people who passed by. They were wondering what kind of message that was. And last, one of my students translated the medical instructions for Ibubeta, which is ibuprofen, produced from a German company. Yeah.
Thank you. No, it was a very, very interesting. I think it gave us a good picture. I thought, you know what I thought? I just heard a podcast about metaphors, and I spoke to Mark about metaphors because this is what we're going to talk about next week. And metaphors, when we speak in pictures, then our brain, like the different areas, get activated. So when I saw your pictures just now again, I literally felt how my creative brain got into thinking, like, how do you think completely different? Like for us who are like just used to read, it's very easy to scan a text and then you know what it is. But for this kind of language, you have to kind of switch your brain and use another part of your brain to understand. But once this is activated, it's a lot of fun to actually read it. And also when we share the Miro board and when I really have time to dig into this is really interesting how fast you also understand what is actually being said. So another thought I have is that did you ever think about analphabetics, like people who can't read at all? Because I think this could be a very good way for them to still be inclusive or included in a conversation.
Yes, actually, I mean, we're going to talk about the Ibu project next time, but this is meant for analphabets, for illiterate people. So yes, of course, that is one of the maybe major fields where the Tuqtuli principle in this factorized, in this refined way could be used. As this student showed, preparation for meal, instruction for medication, wayfinding, there you would find signs already, but maybe also in a more refined way. Telling stories, why not? Having games, and then again, these stories and these games are maybe fun for also people who can read.
Yeah, definitely.
And also I see the possibility to use it when you teach a language. When someone doesn't speak your language very well, but then you have like in billiard, when you play the ball from the wall, you know what I mean? You play the ball to the wall, and then the ball comes back in another angle, and this like the wall. That's the Tuqtuli principle in that respect. You use that principle in order to come together, because at the same time, when you would discuss the sign, what is my sign for something, or maybe an example, what is my sign for Hungary?
Yeah.
Maybe I had that with an Italian guy. He said when something is very tasty in Italy, you would do this
All
hand
right.
gesture, yeah.
Yeah.
But in Germany, you would rub your stomach
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
So you see cultural differences only a couple of hundreds of kilometers between these two cultures, but then when you go to another continent, it may be even another way to express that. And from my side, I would say hungry or tasty, happy face and rubbing the stomach, that would be my sign for hungry or for
or water
taste
dripping
good.
out of your mouth.
Yeah, something like that. But maybe someone is like, oh, what would she like to tell me? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then we need to somehow get together. But my premise is that we are all human and we share a lot of our everyday life because we are human. Like we sit right now, we are in a building right now, every one of us right now. We watch a screen, and on that screen we have a lot of icons, and we go through the city and you would see all the traffic signs, and that is we share a lot of experiences. We sleep, we eat, we have digestion, we do a lot of things that everybody in the world does. Fall in love, be sad. So that's my premise. Everybody knows that, and we'll get together. And in the end, it's, I guess, Tuqtuli is mostly made, or maybe for the first era, it would be made for, as I said, live communication, and the live communication would be about urgent individual needs, emotions, like I need a toilet, or I want my children go to school here in the new country, something hurts, I need medical help.
I see Tuqtuli also as a great tool for two things. One's what I have in mind right now is stroke patients who can think still, but they can't probably write, or they have like this speech disability where they want to say, for example, desktop, but they say house. And
yes.
it's I experienced that when I had my concussion. I was like, oh gosh, this must be so terrible. I want to say something, but something else comes out of it. And so I'm very close to this to this memory right now. So I think it can be used to get another level of or give them another chance to express themselves. And then also what I thought, it would be great in kindergarten, but also in like rest homes, when people, just to train their cognitive abilities, because I mean, I'm not a big fan of rest homes. Like
what is rest home?
Altersheim.
Okay.
Yeah. So where old people are sitting there and just staring at the wall and waiting for the day to pass by. I'm always a big fan of getting a kindergarten and a rest home together, because I think young and old, there's a lot of value in there. But
yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. And sometimes I see videos of really great physiotherapists. They have like invent those really simple games for the oldies, but that keeps them going somehow, even in their wheelchairs. And now I had in my head Tuqtuli being another tool to keep their minds fresh, to keep and it's fun, it's like Sudoku. You don't do something not to have a goal, but to keep entertained and to keep your mind running. And then they could even the old people who have different languages could communicate with each other. Like here in Sweden, we have this one rest home here, and I worked there for a bit. And one lady, she like when she got dementia, she couldn't remember the Swedish language because she was actually Finnish. So she speaks only Finnish, and nobody can talk to her because nobody speaks Finnish here. So it's very sad. Very simple signs could probably help her to get to her needs, I need to go to the toilet would be something that would be very helpful to understand, or I'm hungry. those.
Yes.
So I see Tuqtuli everywhere since I know it, and I think there's so much potential for it to help people really. Yeah. As you see, I'm a big fan.
It's funny. On Sunday, I went for another walk, and I passed a rest home somewhere in the outskirts of Berlin, and I got to talk with a lady who lives there, and then she told me that they have a program where they have workshops and concerts also, and I thought, maybe I can come with Tuqtuli and work with the older people, because this would also be about cultural heritage. They know signs that young people today don't know anymore, and they may be interested in learning the signs of our days. And it's as I said, that didn't come to my mind. What you just said, that it is also interesting to keep their intellect fresh.
Yes, I mean that's what they need. They need input, not just physical, but also logical. And yes, please do that. I would love to see Tuqtuli in rest homes. And then maybe you have workshops together with a kindergarten, co-organize that. There's very often a kindergarten very close to a rest home, and bring them together. And then it could be so interesting to see how kids draw something and elderly draw something, right?
Yeah, that is something that I also hope to do rather sooner than later, to bring together people from one city who in normal life would not talk to each other. That was more about the idea of social bubbles. So bring together people who normally maybe at the maximum they would say something like, hello, please 2 of these, a bag, no thank you. That would be all that they talk to each other. But then when they come to a Tuqtuli workshop, they would have an opportunity to share their worldviews in a very literal sense.
Yes, definitely. Sounds very interesting.
And, also, there's another thing that is very new to me as an idea, but it makes total sense. I think that in the live medical communication, it could also be used. So when you are talking as a medical professional to someone who does not speak your language, you don't speak their language, you don't have a translation app, you don't have an interpreter, you would start to use Tuqtuli to at least transfer the basics of what you want the other person to know. It's the allergies. The idea is it's better something very rudimentary than you just don't know anything. So you could try.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in Tuqtuli, actually.
Yes, and actually, I'm just now, I think I would like to give workshops in that field for people working in the professional field. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
that would be pioneering work for both sides.
Absolutely. It could also be for speech therapists and physiotherapists, those who, again, with stroke patients, who have, or other patients who have a difficulty to speak and to sich ausdrücken, to
express themselves.
Yes. So I see there's a lot of potential, and I'm very happy to talk to you more in depth about the IBU project next time.
Me too.
Crisis risk and emergency communication as well, is Mark just commenting. That's a very good sentence, Mark. Thank you. What do you want to tell us about that? Get in the conversation, Mark.
Just want to show you one thing.
Yes, please.
I stole from a hotel in Berlin.
It was a present, right?
No, it was in the hotel. I just took it when I was last in Berlin. So, so crisis risk and emergency communication, or CERC, CERC, is exactly what you were talking about, like communicating with refugees in crises, like the Rohingya, where there wasn't, at the time with the Rohingya, there wasn't any materials in the Rohingya language. to be able to communicate with them. So it was done through second or third languages, and just quick communication in an emergency like a hurricane or an earthquake or an Ebola outbreak or cholera. That's where I would see. One of the things I'm really interested in, as we've discussed, is part of the Ibu project, which I'm grateful to be part of, is I want to look at how intuitive the symbols are across cultures, which is why it's the composition of the Ibu project group is amazing, because you've got basically all ages. You got people who were born after 2006, was it? Which is inconceivable.
The youngest is 23.
It's just not fair, is it?
It's so amazing. And the oldest is 86.
Yeah, but he wow. Worked for Time magazine as well. An amazing experience. But so you've got the age diversification, but also I'm interested in the geographic and the cultural diversification. And we've got that professor from the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire.
And the young ophthalmologist to be from Tanzania.
Yeah, Tanzania. And do we have anybody from Asia as well?
Yes, it's only India so far. It's Divya and Panda. Yeah. We obviously we cannot invite people from all the countries that there are, and also we could not invite people from all languages that there are, because there are more than 7,000 being spoken nowadays. So it's a fuzzy logic behind that, but that is something I'm happy to talk about next time with a little bit more time. Yeah. But yes, this idea to translate medical instructions into science, there's a lot to it, obviously, and it has, as I notice now, it has some implications. Like when you have the Tuqtuli instructions printed, then you can obviously you can use them in a pharmacy as well, when someone is standing in front of you and you don't know how to tell them how to take that medicine or how to apply it. And there's something I would like to add, as you said, Katrin, about the visual area in our heads. Everybody who can see does see, and everybody has, as I say, some kind of visual dictionary in their head. But I guess there's also something like talent for memorizing visual things and also for reproducing visual things. That does not necessarily mean I'm able to draw that in a clever way or in a beautiful way, but just as not everybody is able to reproduce a melody when you sing them to them, it's a bit like the same with there will be a certain percentage of people who hesitate to draw at all because they think, I'm scared. My art teacher always said, you're bad, don't do it.
Yeah. So that was my first thought. When you invited me to join to the Tuqtuli, my first thought was like, no, I can't draw. But then, at least I can give my medical opinion to it. But you're right. Yeah.
And I must make a confession. In all the languages that I learned already, and including my mother language, I can always better express myself than understand the others. And it's the same with Tuqtuli. It's so funny.
It's very interesting.
I can express myself in science, but when someone gives me a message in Tuqtuli, I need longer than others.
But maybe that is because you have your own dictionary so extraordinary built, so that sometimes it also boundaries, like sets boundaries when you have a lot of experience. When, for example, when I speak about a topic that I have been thinking about a lot, then the more and more I think about it, the more and more clear it gets for me. But then getting another opinion is like, no, this doesn't work. And then you have to start rethinking your own sanity, you know.
Do I understand you right? That you think the knowledge, the experience limits the capacity of interpretation?
Yeah, limits the capacity of understanding different points of view, more like that.
Oh, okay,
maybe
that is deep. That
just
is
a spontaneous
deep.
thought.
Yes, I need to think about that. Yes, that's very interesting. And yeah, as I said earlier, Tuqtuli is the life eye conversation is about the attitude to be open to what the other person associates, what the other person has in mind, what the other culture behind that person, the biography behind that person, the beliefs, the experiences are. So you cannot know, because maybe you don't know that person, otherwise you wouldn't communicate that way, but you'll need to be open to that other person, and that is a very charming quality that I think we should have anyway.
Definitely,
that's a democratic attitude, basically. It's most inclusive.
Absolutely. What I also just want to throw in the room, just to think about it, is judgmental, or like judging what somebody drew. We grew up, like we are raised, at least here in Europe, I would say, that we are quite critical. Like the teachers are critical with us.
Yeah.
So you always get told this is not right. You should do that. But my daughter, like Leah, my very arty daughter, she also drew the cover for my book. So she's very good in arts, and she has a very sharp mind. And when they had in their art class last time, that they were free to structure something with all kinds of materials. So she made a black woman and a really beautiful dress but very, you had to think about what it is. But once you looked at it and you did some brain work, you understood. And she wanted to combine that with something from the Westerly world, which was in her head the Joker face. For some reason at that time, she was very much into the Joker face. Yes. So she put on that structure, on that figure, she put the Joker face. And I believe art is free and you should express yourself. But her art teacher told her that this is wrong. She can't do it like that because this would be racist. And but my daughter is so not racist, she didn't do it out of that. She's 14. Maybe I have to say that too. And she got so angry at the teacher because the teacher said you are free to do whatever you want, and then she limits them so much by her own opinion about racism. Yeah. And this is something. But what I actually wanted to say is that we grow up with critics, with judgmental comments about our work. So I think this might also be a reason why people would hesitate to draw something, because then they would be cautious, they would be anxious that they get judged. So on the other hand, I always like to see things positive. This could also be a way to break that, to say, hey, we are all like, nobody of us is an artist, but we can still communicate with this. So I see a lot of potential.
Me too. And when you have an eye conversation, you both are on the same level, because nobody is a trained Tuqtuli communicator so far. Maybe there will be some in the future. Even I just start. I mean, I have been thinking about sign communication for ages, I may say already, But even though if you ask me to translate something into science, I need to think a little.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes quickly, but sometimes, like in the EBU project we are working on right now, when you ask me to translate a sentence, don't throw ibuprofen into the toilet, it would take a little bit longer, but still I can do that rather quickly in comparison to translate something like when the pain isn't gone, you may take another capsule in 4 hours, but you can only take 6 capsules in 24 hours. Hui, that's a little bit
quite a lot. Yeah.
Asked,
Yeah.
But still that can be done.
Yeah. Let's talk about that in the next talk. I don't want to say too much already. Thank you for today's talk. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to working with you on this. And now I wish you a nice, at least here it's sunny day, and let's meet again in a few weeks.